Yeah, Saturn People, okay, we is back once again with another video, and this time I want to try something just a little bit different because, we've been talking a lot about music lately on the channel, been doing some reviews, been doing some reactions, been talking a lot about music, and I thought, you know what? Let's do something just a little bit different. Let's talk about some of the music I was listening to during the 90s, because the 90s was a special time for me, especially when it comes to music. Well, not even especially, but definitely when it comes to music, because a lot of my musical influences I can trace back to the 90s. I used to listen to, I've listened to all kinds of music over the years, but I would say the 90s, especially like 92, 93, is when I really started coming to my kind of musical awareness and like, stuff I was listening to then, and the stuff that I was introduced to and how that's kind of evolved and changed over the years, and I've introduced new stuff as we've gone along. But I could all trace it back to the 90s. So I want to show you like my 90s CD collection. That's what we're going to do today. All the CDs that represent the 90s for me. Now I will say that not every single CD I have I bought during the 90s. Some of them I bought afterwards, but it is still indicative of the type of stuff that I was listening to during the 90s. However, it is just the CDs because I can't find my actual tape collection. I did have a small cassette tape collection of about 30 cassettes or so, give or take, and I can't find it ever since the move. Yeah, they're just lost. I don't know. I'm sure there's somewhere, but as it is right now, I don't know where they are. At least I don't. Yeah, so it's just the CDs for now. They'll also say quickly about my tape collection. So I had about 30 cassettes. As I remember, I used to listen to a lot of ragga, like dancehall ragga, so I had like a few ragga cassette tapes. I think I've bought some of them again on CD. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. But anyway, so this is my 90s collection. Let's show you guys. Okay, and this is it. This is the CDs, the musics that I was listening to during the 90s, between 1990 and 1999. This is the type of stuff that I was listening to. Some of these CDs, like I said, were bought in like the 2000 and somethings, but they're pretty much, they all were released at least during the 90s. So yeah, let's have a look at them. We got Montel Jordan over here. This is how we do it. Boom, 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 boom. I actually had this on cassette tape and I lent it to a friend, and the friend got robbed, and then no, wait a minute, that's not right. No, I had it on CD and I lent it to a friend, and the friend got robbed, and then he gave me the money to buy it again. But I bought it again on cassette tape, and then years later I bought it again on CD. So yeah, that's the story of this album. This is how we do. That's how I did it with that. But man, we've got loads. There's lots of different genres over here: hip hop, rock and roll. There's just loads of different things. We've got Janet Jackson here, legendary Janet Jackson. This album did numbers. This was a big album back in the day. That's the first Bon Jovi album I bought after hearing Always. Heard it on the TV, saw the video, and it's like, man, I gotta know about Bon Jovi. I mean, I kind of knew about him before, but I wasn't paying much attention. But this got me to know about Bon Jovi, and I've since bought some of his AC stuff as well. And I've got some other Bon Jovi in here somewhere. Here's some more Bon Jovi, Keep the Faith. Was this a 90s album? What's this doing here? Oh, it was actually, yeah, 1992. Cool, that's right. And then we've got Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead actually introduced me to a lot of music. In fact, a lot of these, especially like when it comes to the rock music, heavy metal, a lot of them because of Beavis and Butthead, from seeing Metallica and Beavis and Butthead, and then just being so amazed by it. But this is actually the soundtrack for the movie Beavis and Butthead Do America. So this has got like Isaac Hayes on it, it's got LL Cool J on it, White Zombie, it's got a few different bands on here. But yeah, if you've not seen that movie, by the way, that's a great film. If you like Beavis and Butthead, or if you just like silly humor, then yeah, check out the movie Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's great. There's another Beavis and Butthead CD somewhere, maybe I'll see it. But over here, let's talk about Lisa Loeb. Lisa Loeb, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated artists of all time. Like, she is absolutely incredible. This album, like, it was quite popular, or more specifically, a song on this album was popular, a song called Stay. It's the 13th track on the album. There you go, number 13, Stay. So you've probably heard that song before, but I doubt you, well, maybe, I don't know, depends. You might have not have heard the rest of her songs, but Stay did numbers back in the day, but that's pretty much it. And she just kind of, it wasn't really in a spotlight so much after that, but I kept up with her because I was so amazed by that song and that album. I bought, this is her second album, Firecracker, and I think one of these songs was in a movie as well. How, I think we believe, was in a movie. How does your heart beat? So it's not she was unknown or wasn't doing anything. It just wasn't on the same level as that album there. But this album is incredible. We've got Biggie Smalls over here. This is the best of Biggie Smalls album, greatest hits. Technically, this was a 2000 something release, if you want to get technical. But of course, Biggie Smalls was during the 90s. So all these songs were originally released during the 90s. And there are some great songs in this album. Juicy, Big Papa, 10 Crack Commandments, which gives some good advice. I mean, don't do crack, but if you can apply that advice to other things, then he's got some good advice in there. Who Shut Ya? It's a great album. I've got a 2-pack out. Here we go. Best of 2-pack as well over here. This one I believe was actually a 90s release, greatest hits. It's a double CD. Keep Your Head Up, the first track on this. America's Most Wanted, Troublesome, da 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 da. Great album, man. I really like these 2 albums. People talk about who's better, Biggie Smalls or 2-pack. For me, they're both great, and they're both worth looking up. If you don't know about Biggie Smalls or 2-pack, in fact, anything you see here is worth looking up, but definitely these 2 guys are worth looking up. They were like quintessential 90s. Now, when you talk about 90s, you definitely got to talk about 2-pack and Biggie for real. And we've got Sade over here. This is another greatest hits album. It's just amazing. Sade was just an amazing singer all round, and the songs on this album were fantastic. If it were focused, you might see some of them, but yeah, it's like Your Love Is King, Hang On To Your... Every song on this album, Smooth Operator. It's a fantastic, brilliant album. I mean, she was an amazing singer. Anyway, we've got Beastie Boys. This album was pretty popular. I've got another Beastie Boys album somewhere. I'll try and find it. Pantera. By the way, there's no particular order in which these are in, by the way, in case you're wondering. If it wasn't already obvious, there's no particular order in which these CDs are in. There's various reasons for that. It's just, yeah. Anyway, that was a great album. Far Beyond Driven, more Pantera over here. It's actually their first album, Cowboys from Hell, after, well, their first studio album after they were like independent for a while. And they were doing some like mixtapes and demo tapes and all that kind of stuff for a while. And then when they actually got signed and put out a studio album, this was their first release. But I believe that's not the first album I bought from them. The first album I bought from Pantera, oh, is it even here? It's got to be in there somewhere. I'm sure it's got to be in there somewhere, but it's called Vocal Display of Power. I'll try and find it, but we got Guns N' Roses over here. This is Use Illusions 1. There's a Use Illusions 2 somewhere as well. But yeah, these are great albums. Guns N' Roses were real big back in the day. Real big. Chili Peppers, awesome band, one of my favorite bands of all time. One Hot Minute is a fantastic album. I actually saw them live, and this was during the One Hot Minute run of when I saw them live. So the lineup was Anthony Kiedis, Flea, Chad Smith, and Dave Navarro when I saw them live. Dave Navarro ended up not staying very long in the band, which is a shame. He was a great guitarist. But, you know, John Frusciante, who's now back with the band, I believe, he was the original guitarist. Not the original, sorry. The original guitarist was Hillel Slovak. But John Frusciante was there, then he left, and he came back. And they've had like a bunch of different guitarists, but I believe Frusciante is officially now back with the band. Anyway, great band, great album, definitely worth checking out. Big Mountain. These were really popular, actually, for a while, but I guess, you know, I don't really hear about them too much these days, so I don't know what they're doing now. But this was a really cool album. In particular, there's a song here called Baby I Love Your Way, which is a Piece of Frampton cover. And that was really popular. That was part of a, I'm sure, yeah, it was a part of a movie. It's called The Reality Bites. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Reality Bites that song was from. And that's how I heard about it, and I bought that album. By the way, I mostly bought albums. I very rarely buy CDs. Even now, I don't really buy singles, excuse me. I very rarely buy singles, but even to this day, I don't really buy singles. So most of the stuff I bought are albums based on one song. I liked a song and I bought an album based on that one song. And some of them turn out to be really good albums, some of them not so much. It is what it is. But I very rarely bought singles. I do have a few that you might see. We've got Puff Daddy over here. This is No Way Out. Puff Daddy and the Family. It was a really good album. I like this album. Puff Daddy, I think, didn't do many releases in the end, actually. He did mostly produce them, but in terms of his own stuff, I don't think there's actually that many albums, unless I just missed a bunch. But yeah, No Way Out was a good album. Biggie Smalls is on this. This is the album that has Every Step You... So I'll Be Missing You on this, which is the tribute to Biggie Smalls after he passed, featuring Faith Evans. Faith Evans on 112. You might see it there if it were focused. There we go. Faith Evans on 112. I'll Be Missing You. Got Mace over here. He was signed with Puff Daddy. This was a really cool album. I like this album. Mace kind of like, he had, I think, like 3 albums in total. He wanted to do like 3 or 4 albums. I think he did all right. But this was probably, at least to my mind, his biggest release. This is a fantastic album. Hardcore, well, not hardcore, but just good old school hip hop at its finest, you know, in my opinion anyway. Mace, Harlem World, great album. Rage Against the Machine, we'll go from hip hop to rock. That's how we do it here. Rage Against the Machine, this is their first release. However, it's not the first Rage album that I bought. The first Rage album that I bought was this one, Evil Empire. So I bought this first after hearing Bulls on Parade. This album is brilliant, man. It is so good. And then I bought this, I think, afterwards. And then they have a third album somewhere that I bought. It's somewhere around here. I might see it eventually. It's like I say, there's no particular order. Metallica, one of my favorite bands of all time. This is Garage Inc. And then we got Metallica over here again with S&M. This is the first S&M. We've got a second S&M out, but that was just recently. This is the first one, which is 98, 99. Alanis Morissette. Let's talk a little bit about Alanis Morissette. She was huge, fam. She was huge. And this is probably one of her biggest albums, though she did go on to release many great albums. Let's be clear on that. But this is probably one of her biggest albums, you know, with You Ought to Know might be her most famous track. It just might be. But this is, yeah, great album if you've not heard this. More Chili Peppers over here. This was the first Chili Peppers album I bought. However, I actually bought it on cassette tape originally, and then since bought it on tape. And I actually have this again on vinyl. So I bought this album like 3 times. Literally, I bought it 3 times. Once on tape, once on CD, and once on vinyl. That's how we roll. That's how we roll. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. We got Brownstone. Brownstone were pretty popular back in the day, but I don't think they're still around anymore, I don't think. Or maybe they are. Maybe they are. Sometimes you don't really hear about bands and you kind of assume they might have split up or just stop doing what they're doing, but sometimes they're just doing it on the low. So I don't know if they're still around anymore, but they were big back in the day. It's their first album, and there's a second album somewhere. This is one of their singles actually, but there's a second album somewhere. Blur were pretty big back in the day as well. Damon Albarn, who's now with Gorillaz. He formed Gorillaz whenever he formed Gorillaz. But yeah, this is it's not the first album. This is like I don't know which order this is in. But Song 2 was a great track. This whole album is just great. There was a whole big thing about Blur and Oasis back in the day, whether you were a Blur fan or Oasis fan. I was more of a Blur fan. That being said, Oasis definitely did their thing back in the day. I don't have any Oasis albums, but Oasis definitely did their thing back in the day. Michael Jackson now, come on. Come on, blood is on the dance floor. Listen, this album was levels, fam. I've got more Michael Jackson around as well. But speaking of levels, don't cuss me. You can't cuss me on this. You can't cuss me on this. Another level. Yes, they're a pop band. Yes, they're a bit all girly, good looking. I want the girly, kissy, girly, lovey, cussy. Yes, they were all of that cheesy pop. But this album was levels, man. Listen, I don't care, man. This album was I listened to this album not that long ago, actually. It's levels. Some great songs on this. We got what we got here? We got Freak Me, Baby. Listen, you can't tell me these songs weren't banging back in the day. And listen, look at this. Look at this. Let it focus for a second. Jay-Z is on this album, fam. Jay-Z, the last track, number 11, Be Alone No More, featuring Jay-Z. Jay-Z is featuring on this album. You can't cuss me no more, fam. You can't cuss me when man like Jay-Z is rolling with Another Level. So you done know this album was great. Don't try and cuss me. This album was fantastic. Listen, yeah. Black Star. Come on now. Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Black Star. Oh man. When this album came, I think it was Yo MTV Raps. I first heard, what song was it now? I can't remember right now. But I used to hear them on Yo MTV Raps. And, oh no, it wasn't even this album. It was another one. It was, Talib Kweli and High Tech. But yeah, he did another one with DJ High Tech. Where's that? I'm sure I had that. Or do I have it? I can't remember. Man, I did sell some CDs, to be honest with you. Hopefully that wasn't one of them. I know it was a time when I was going through some money issues and I sold a few things and I did sell a few CDs. Hopefully that was not one of them because that album was amazing. But definitely check out Talib Kweli and DJ High Tech. That's Reflections Eternal. That was another great album. Slipknot over here. This is their first studio album. They had some demos before this and then it's their first studio album released like late 90s, 99, 98, I think, something like that. But yeah, great album. If you like heavy rock, well, you already know about Slipknot, I'm sure. Well, you should do by now. They're pretty big. It's not like they're a nobody band no one ever heard of. They were pretty big. Ronnie Size, oh man, Represent. Man, this album was levels, man. The new Brown Paper Bag, Raylan. Listen, yeah, check this album out. Wyclef over here. Got Lauryn Hill over here. They're both former Fugees members. I did actually have the Prize album as well, but I can't find it. That might have been one of the ones I sold. But yeah, these albums are great. This album in particular, though, Lauryn Hill, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, is, in my opinion, one of the, if not the greatest albums ever recorded. It is absolutely amazing. Brilliant album. Absolute masterpiece. Like, if nothing else, this is the album that you want to listen to. It is amazing. Released like 20-something years ago, and till this day, it holds up as just a masterpiece of work. And I'm talking about whether you like that style of music. Oh, I don't like soul, I don't like R&B. No, forget that. This album is amazing, regardless of whatever style of music you normally listen to. This is the album you want to pick up, get it on your streaming platform, pick up the CD or the tape for cheap or whatever, you know, whatever you can get it. This is the one that you want to listen to. It is brilliant from start to finish. The shame of it is that it's her only studio album, or at least the only one that I know of. I don't think she released anything else after this. No, I mean, there are other releases, but I don't think there's another studio album released after this. But yeah, even still, sometimes you just need that one great masterpiece and you just don't need to do anything else for the rest of your life. It's just like that sometimes. This album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, let me get it so the light's not in the way. Masterpiece, and I don't use that word lightly. This is a masterpiece. Check this album out. Bon Jovi over here. We've got more Michael Jackson. Dangerous. Listen, yeah, Michael Jackson was big. You know about Michael Jackson. You don't know you know about Michael Jackson. Of course you know about Michael Jackson. Mos Def, solo album Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. It's a great album. Yeah, that's one worth checking out. What else we got? Aerosmith, Nine Lives. Pink was my favorite song on this album. Beastie Boys over here, Ill Communication. This album, I mean, they were pretty popular before, but I feel like this is the album that really elevated Beastie Boys to like just that level. So yeah, that's one worth checking out. We got Raffi's Revenge from Asian Dub Foundation, Great Southern Trendkill, Pantera. What else? Listen, yeah. You're going to talk about the 90s. You got to talk about this song, Incredible. Mr. Levy Panamaika Bulavi. Listen, this album, this single, sorry. I don't buy many singles, but the ones I did buy, Incredible. This one, yeah. Go look it up on YouTube or wherever you need to find it. Listen to this song, Incredible. It is brilliant. This is what we called jungle back in the day, yeah? Even says it there. Jungle, kind of fusion of like reggae with like dance music, like techno dance music, kind of a fusion between the two, drum and bass, you know, that kind of thing. And that was big. The jungle genre of music was big back in the day, and this was one of the biggest tracks around. Incredible. So yeah, look this up. It's like 20 something, 25. I don't know how old this song is by now, but till this day, incredible. What else we got, man? Prodigy, yeah, Prodigy were big back in the day. Well, they're still pretty big now, to be fair, but they were huge. This album, like, they were pretty popular before this album. They were known before this album. But I feel like this is the album that really put Prodigy in that, you know, elevated criteria, because like after this album, they had like Smack My Bitch Up on this album, which, I mean, the name says it all really. You're gonna get attention with a song called Smack My Bitch Up, and especially when you're already popular, you're already doing numbers, and you put a song out called Smack My Bitch Up. Listen. Prodigy, man, they did their thing, man. They did their thing. This was the very first CD that I ever... No, let me rephrase that. This was the very first album I ever bought on CD. Paula, Abdul, Head Over Heels. And yeah, you can laugh at me if you want to, but this album is fantastic. I don't care what nobody says. I love this album. It's awesome. It's a great album, great songs on it. My Love Is For Real, I think, was the one that really... Yeah, My Love Is For Real was a track that really got me to buy this album. And Paula Abdul, she was big during the 80s. She was already quite popular. When this album came out and I bought it, I was like, yo, I listened to this a lot. The very first album that I ever bought on CD. This is it. It's not a rebuy. You know, this is the actual one that I bought whatever 30 years ago, whenever I bought it. 25, I don't even know when it came out. When it's 1995, so oof. 25 years ago I bought this shit. This is the actual CD that I actually purchased with my actual money 25 years ago that I'm holding. This is it. This is history right here. Paula Abdul, you did your thing, man. You did your thing. Beavis and Butthead Experience you got down here. This is more of a curated album. But yeah, Beavis and Butthead put me onto a lot of great music. So big up to Beavis and Butthead every time. Mr. Smith by LL Cool J. I think I had this one on cassette tape actually, and it went missing or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, I've got it again on CD. Oh, no, I remember now. I had this as a pirate copy. I don't recommend pirating stuff, by the way, but for real, some of you companies need to make it easier for people to buy things. But if, yeah, I generally don't get into pirates, at least not these days. But back in the day, I might have, you know, gotten a few things in ways that I shouldn't have got them, and this, I believe, was one of them. But yeah, since bought the actual CD, and it's worth buying because it's a great album. You know, definitely worth checking out. Let me open this up so you can see it a bit better. You know what, this yeah, Mr. Smith, this was a great album, man. I haven't listened to it for a while, but boy, I might have to bang this one out. What else we got? More Metallica over here. This is another fantastic album. This was Load. People didn't like Load for some reason. A lot of Metallica fans didn't like Load. I really liked Load and Reload, which I have somewhere around there somewhere. Oh, this is the other Brownstone album. Here we go. This is their second album, Still Climbing. Really good album as well. Reef were one of my favorite bands back in the day. British rock band. They're still around actually. Apparently they haven't released a CD, an album, whatever, for like a long time, and they put one out not that long ago. So I haven't heard it yet, but I did look them up. I was thinking about what happened to Reef, and then when I looked them up, there's like they hadn't released something for ages, and they put out something I think maybe a couple of years ago or something like that. So they're still doing their thing, but I don't know what they're doing because I haven't listened to it. Did I mention TLC? Did I mention TLC? I need to mention TLC. Fan mail. This album is fantastic. This album, they were popular before this album was released, but this album is the one that has No Scrubs on it, which if it focus, you'll see it. Also got Silly Ho, a bunch of great tracks on this album. Lisa Left by Lopez passed away in 2001. Rest in peace to Lisa Left by Lopez. But yeah, this album was amazing, man. Definitely worth looking up. And their previous album as well, Crazy Sexy Cool, which I don't have. I have listened to it. I don't have it, but it's a great album. What else we got? Big Mountain. Did I mention Big Mountain? I think I might mention Big Mountain. Oh, Vanilla Ice. Come on now. Let's not forget Vanilla Ice. And anybody who says Vanilla Ice, wasn't all that. Lion, fam. Man's lying. Vanilla Ice, before Eminem, before all these white rappers that you know about now, Vanilla Ice was doing numbers back in the day, yeah? When this album dropped, To the Extreme, Rock a Mind Like a Vandal, Light the Stage, Something Like a Candle, Dance, I should speak like booms, like killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom, deadly, wanna play a dope melody, anything less than the best of the felony, love it, leave it, you better gang way, you better, okay, I can't remember all the words, but still, this was doing numbers, everybody loved it, it was like #1 for that time. So don't tell me, oh, Vanilla Ice wasn't all that. Nah, Vanilla Ice was all that, and a bag of chips, done no. Don't be trying to cuss this album out. Vanilla Ice is still around, I think. I think he's still putting out new music, but he's not as popular as he used to be. And I have heard some of his later stuff, which, we won't comment on that. We won't comment on that. But anyway, that album, check it out. Oh, what else we got here? Chili Peppers. Man, there's so much stuff here. And this ain't even like everything I was listening to because, like I said, I had some cassettes that I can't find no more. I got Apocalypse over here. This is a cover album. They play Metallica songs on the cello. It's a really good listen. I really like this album. Pearl Jam. I think I got into them a bit later in the 90s, like 98, 99. I started hearing about Pearl Jam. But even still, it's a good album, man. I really like this. Alicia's Attic. Oof. What else? Lisa Loeb. You need to know about Lisa Loeb. What else we got, man? Wyclef. We talked about Wyclef, didn't we? We covered everything. I think we might have covered just about everything. Beastie Boys, Mace, Puffy, man, Chili Peppers. Oh, man. Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi. Blood on the Dance Floor, man. Metallica. Man. This is, Megadeth. Oh, let's not forget Megadeth. Yeah, they're a great band, man. That's a great album. Let's not forget Cannabis. Another great album. Another brilliant album. Listen, people cuss Cannabis now, but this album was fantastic. Oh, here it is now. Here it is. The very first Pantera album that I bought, Vulgar Display of Power. And I did read a story, or I did hear a story, that the person being punched in the face was apparently some homeless guy that they paid like $20 to get repeatedly punched in the face while they get the right image. I don't think that's true. I'm sure they actually got somebody, but then again, it's Pantera. It could very well be true. Pantera were wild back in the day, man. They were wild. So you know what? That could very well be true. But this is Pantera. Oh, man. This is a Philippine Selma right there. Rex over there. Dimebag Darrell. Oof. Rest in peace. Vinnie Abbott. Rest in peace. These two on there and their brothers. The drummer on the right and then the guitarist right there. Both since passed away. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. But yeah, this album was phenomenal, man. Listen, another one I got from Beavis and Butthead as well. So yeah, big up to Beavis and Butthead every time. Put me onto so much good music. Man, listen, this is me in the 90s, man. This is pretty much me during the 90s. There's Use Illusions, 2 Guns N' Roses, another Pantera album over here. Man, this was me during the 90s. Pretty much, at least, anyway. Pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed this, man. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. You know, if there's anything here that takes your interest, definitely go look it up. I'd recommend every single one of these, quite frankly. I would recommend every single thing you have seen in this video. But if there's anything in particular that you might be thinking, that looks interesting, definitely check it out. And if nothing else, oh, you gotta check this out, man. This, honestly, is just a brilliant album. But they're all good, man. They're all great. They're all fantastic. Every single thing here is brilliant, as I remember it. That might be just nostalgia speaking, to be honest, but I bought them for a reason, so they must be good. Anyway, this was my little trip down memory lane. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this entertaining, useful, or, you know, just enjoyable of some kind. And yeah, let me know if you remember anything of these, if you're around during the 90s. Let me know what you were listening to during that decade. Let me know if you were born after the 90s, but it's still stuff that you check out during the 90s that you find interesting. Let me know. And yeah, if you've got any recommendations for any types of videos you want to see on the channel, just send it through. I'll see what I can do. Remember to like, share, subscribe, because we are doing this 10. You get me, fam? I've got more videos over there. Oh, it might be over there, but other channels over there, comedy channel, movie/video game channel. Check them out, be much appreciated. But that's going to be it for the minute. So guys, until whenever, if ever, peace.